And now we are all set for our next leadership keynote, Actionable AI. Our keynote speaker this evening is Mr. Harpreet Singh Dhariwal, Director Solution Engineering, MuleSoft India Salesforce. Please put your hands together. A larger round of applause. We've all had a good lunch today.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. I'm just reminded about, I was sitting in the audience yesterday, and there was a very interesting comment which one of the members made. And I just want to tell you a little story about the topic of this presentation and this session. This is not the original topic, right? The original topic, if I were to talk about it, was a mouthful, right? It went something like supercharged agents in an integrated architecture, right? Quite a mouthful. But what I noticed was, and what I heard was that when the session yesterday was going on, there was a little query around, right? What do you think about artificial intelligence? And there was a very interesting comment which someone made. And that comment was that, I want AI to be able to do laundry for me, and I want to write poetry, right? That was the comment, right? And I said, well, we speak about AI, but is there something actionable which AI can make today for you? And so for the next 20 minutes, I'm going to talk about this actionable AI and how Agentforce and MuleSoft from Salesforce can come together to make AI a reality for you in terms of being able to deliver certain actions across your enterprise. And before we get started, here's a forward-looking statement. It's very standard for us. Salesforce is a publicly traded company, so please make all your purchasing decisions based upon the products which are available today. Now, one way to understand AI is to really look at it as cumulative waves. The first wave was predictive AI. And predictive AI was all, I think we've all used it for forecasting, for demand planning, using a lot of computing power to understand what's next, right? And it does the job today. It served us well later on. But as we progressed, you had large language models come into picture. You had vector databases. You had a lot of tools being made available. And then you had this advent of generative AI. And you had ChatGPT, and you have copilots which come into the mix. The challenge with copilots is that copilots are built in a very, very if then else kind of a model, so to say a rules driven kind of a model. So it's not really AI in the truest of sense. So what we are actually today going to talk about is the third wave of AI, which is autonomous agents. Can we have agents automatically understanding actions, automatically understanding intent, and delivering on actions within your organization? And that's what we are calling as agentic AI. And I'm sure you would have heard about agentic architecture and agentic AIs a lot. So that's the topic of discussion for today. Now, before I get into what agents are and what a definition of agents is and how we enable that, right, let's look at the business scenario today. If you look at business scenario today, there are two dimensions to it. The first dimension is workforce. And workforce today is sort of burned out, right? They are doing the same repetitive tasks again and again. Stalled productivity, fixed capacity, not changing, burnout. And that's something which is very evident post-COVID, so to say. And the second end of the spectrum is actually customers who demand much more than ever, right? There was a time when customers demanded, they demand much more than ever. And I think part of the reason for that is that you have a Gen Z which is out there, and the experience they get and the instant gratification they get out of something like an Instagram or a Zepto or a Zomato, they want to have the same experience being replicated all across, even enterprises for that matter. So you have two separate dimensions. Workforces are overwhelmed, and you have customers who are very demanding for that matter. So what if you had a workforce which had no limits? A workforce which could work 24/7 along with your human workforce using AI and delivering on tasks no matter the complexity of those tasks. What if you had a workforce which you could actually scale up and down based upon demand as per your requirements for that matter? And that's what Agentforce is actually all about. So let me introduce Agentforce to you. Now, for all of you who've been, for some of you, or rather I would say all of you who've been following us and following Salesforce, this is something which is not new. It's something we introduced a few months back during Dreamforce, right? But let me just sort of refresh it back. What is Agentforce? In summary, Agentforce is where humans with agents drive customer success on the Salesforce platform. Now, what does it mean for you? It means the following things for you. First, it is trusted and secure, built on the number one trusted and secure platform, which is Salesforce. Second, it is scalable and accurate. You can scale it with no limits, so to say. Third, it is easy to customize with built-in AI. When I say easy to customize, we've deliberately built it in a way that you can actually use generative prompts and simple natural language to actually create agents extremely fast with the help of what we call as Agent Builder. And I will talk about the agentic framework as well in some time. The third is it's customer 360 integrated. What it means is that across the Salesforce ecosystem and beyond, you will be able to take actions. So it's not only about understanding your intent and then responding to your queries. For example, what is the status of my order? And getting that status and displaying it to you. It's also about, can I automatically, based on the prompt, go and create orders for you, understand that intent, so to say. Finally, it's built on a unified metadata platform. It's built on data cloud, so it combines all the data from across your enterprise and ensures that this is a homogenized data which is out there, and so it is a trusted data across which actions can be taken. It's also built on an open ecosystem, which means that you can extend it using partners, and our partners are already extending it multiple ways, even as we speak, for that matter. In fact, Agentforce is what AI was always meant to be. What it means is, and if I delve a bit deeper into what Agentforce really constitutes is, at the heart of Agentforce is actually Customer 360. What is a Customer 360? Customer 360 platform is all our capabilities. Sales, service, marketing, Tableau, MuleSoft, all brought together so that you can actually act and have actions across these different applications from the Salesforce portfolio. But what we want to do is we want to even extend these capabilities beyond to other applications, and that's where MuleSoft sort of comes into picture, and we'll speak more about that as well. At the heart of Agentforce is actually Data Cloud. And what Data Cloud does is it brings data, or it consolidates and synchronizes data across your enterprise so that you can have a trusted layer of data against which actions can be taken. And finally, you have MuleSoft, which provides the integration capability so that you can not only fetch data from all across your enterprise, but also act upon it as well. Now, I've spoken about the heart and the core of Agentforce. What about the brains? And this is where the reasoning engine called Atlas comes into picture. And Atlas is the reasoning engine which works with Agentforce to make sure that we are able to deliver on the intent and the business objectives you made that particular agent for. What does it mean? And how does it do that, right? So what Atlas does is, first of all, it ensures that it creates a plan, right? And then based on that plan, then it evaluates that particular plan, and based on the evaluation, and it refines that particular plan. And it does it in an iterative fashion so that, and it does it till the time it is sure that it can actually accomplish the task which you've actually given it, right? So that's the first thing it does, creates the plan, refines the plan, and redefines the plan continuously for that matter. The second is that it brings together data across the enterprise, and then is also able to action the data with the help of APIs for that matter. So it understands your intent and then decides what structured data and what unstructured data needs to be brought together to take actions to achieve your business objective. And finally, it decides what APIs or systems need to be invoked at the back end to make sure that agent, for whatever action you've defined that agent for is actually able to achieve that. But it gets better because Atlas is a reasoning engine which learns. So the more you use Atlas and the more you use agents for that matter, the better it becomes over a period of time through self-learning and through feedback. Now, Agentforce is not just a construct out there from a horizontal perspective, it is built for every industry. And on the board, you can actually see that there are these 15 different industries for which we have specific agents which we are creating. So if it's telco, then we have an agent which is specific to telecom, which reduces the wait time with 24/7 support. If it's healthcare, we have ability to match patients to doctors for better care. If it's insurance, you can insure with our agents, pay out faster with automated handling, and so forth. So it's very industry specific apart from being a framework as well. Now let's take an example and understand the whole framework much better, right? So when we speak about agent, we talk about these 5 different aspects which these agents ought to have. What's the first one? The first one is a role. Every agent has to have a role. And I'm taking the example of a customer care agent for simplicity. What's the role of a customer care agent? It is to assist customers, manage routine inquiries and simple tasks. That's the role which you define. What's the knowledge which is required to have that agent fulfill that particular role, right? So you need order history, you need case history, you need customer profile and preferences, you need FAQs and product info. And remember, this information could be coming from Salesforce ecosystem, but it could well be coming from something which is beyond Salesforce. It could be your order management system, it could be your ERP as well. The third one is actions. Now you have got the role defined, you've got the knowledge base established, but you need to have actions. What actions should this particular agent actually take? So here are some examples. The agent needs to be able to take answer questions. It needs to be able to manage cases. It needs to be able to manage returns and escalate to human when necessary. So these are the actions. So you've got the role, you've got the knowledge, and you've got the actions. But it's extremely important for this agent to also have guardrails, because that's where AI can go wrong as well. And so you set up these guardrails here. What are these guardrails? These guardrails are what to answer, what is returnable, and when to escalate. And finally, you have the channel where you actually want this particular agent to act against. It's WhatsApp, it's chat, it's email, whatever those channels might be. The key thing here is that whatever I've displayed on the screen is something we enable via simple natural language prompting. So you have something called as an agent builder within the Salesforce ecosystem. And if you go into agent builder, you can actually define all these 5 aspects within that agent builder by just giving simple English language prompts. So you can define the role, you can define the guardrails, you can define the actions, you can define the knowledge for that matter. Right? So all of these things are possible. Now while Agentforce and Agent Studio enable you to take action within the Salesforce ecosystem, it's also important that you are able to take actions beyond the ecosystem, right? Let's say you want to create an order. You want to have an agent which is able to help you with order information. So it's not only about fetching order information, it's also about creating order, tracking the status, deleting an order, updating an order. So you have all of these order related things. With the help of topic center capability, you can combine all of these elements into a single topic, which you could say as order management. And you could get the agent to consume that order management topic and action those things as well. Now, I spoke about Agentforce, right? And I spoke about how Agentforce can actually help you create agents which you can use within the Salesforce ecosystem. But what we realize is that if you scratch the surface, beneath the surface, there are a lot of other applications within your enterprise, right? In fact, if I go by some statistics which are global, you have every organization, typical organizations would have about 900 plus applications. 72% of these applications are actually disconnected. So if you look beneath the surface, you will see that within your organization, you're not only saving data or storing data within a CRM or Salesforce system, it's also within a lot of other applications which are there. Your ERPs, your core banking systems, insurance systems, your system of records, your system of transactions. So you need to be able to take action against all of these systems for that matter. And so it's extremely important that you enable APIs or you have some mechanism so that APIs can be surfaced, managed, integrations can be created, and those can be consumed by those agents which you actually created. So I spoke about MuleSoft. So in short, what I want to do is I also want to give you a briefer about what Mule is and the value it brings to the table, right? So on the screen, you can see a very, very busy slide for that matter. But if I go through that very quickly, at the base, Mule, if I were to give you a a 1 minute kind of a thing, MuleSoft is a hyper automation platform which allows you to integrate, which allows you to automate processes within your organization and allows you to have API management capabilities all brought together as a single unified platform. So what you see on the screen is that a platform which gives you some base capabilities, allows you to deploy applications or integrations anywhere, cloud, hybrid, doesn't matter. It gives you a marketplace where APIs can be utilized and reused and made workable in a very composable fashion. And on top of that, included within the platform is actually a range of integrated development environments. These are low code, no code tools where you can actually do drag and drop to create your integrations and API managements. And finally, apart from low code and pro code, you also have Gen AI capabilities where you can actually just give prompts and get the system to automatically create integration flows for you. Now we are not limited to just only I would say the horizontal part of it. It also comes with its industry accelerators. So if you are in a particular industry and you want to get started very quickly in financial services or manufacturing or retail, you actually have templates which are pre-built which can help you get started in the integration and API management space. And finally, you have a full range of API management capabilities to make sure that whatever integrations you are building, those integrations can be surfaced as APIs, can be secured, policies can be applied, you can have measurement and observability around the entire thing. Now, what do Agentforce and MuleSoft do when they come together, right? So we spoke about how Agentforce can enable actions within the Salesforce ecosystem. If you combine Mule into the picture, these are the 4 things you are actually able to do. The first is you can create and seamlessly package topics. I gave the example of order management. So you can package topics into order management, have it consumed by agents for actions against the ERP. Second, you can connect all of your data to your AI agents which you've created using Agentforce. Third, you can action anything across any system. You can create an order across an ERP of an order management system. You can fetch the order details. You can do orchestration. You can do complex orchestration across multiple systems for that matter. And finally, you can govern and scale every interaction which is happening with your large language models, with your vector databases, and you can include them into the mix as well. So let's take an example before we end this session, right? So what I will do is I will sort of read from this particular thing, and while I attempt not to look at the screen behind, I think I will have to because the font size is very small. If you look closely on the screen, what you see is on the left hand side is a little prompt which has been given. Let me read out that prompt for you, which says, which of the stores in the sunshade campaign segment are low on summer sunshades? And this is the response which comes out. Now how this response got generated is that this is a prompt which was fed into Agentforce. Agentforce comes with its own capabilities like persistent memory, prompt engineering, access to system of records. It creates the prompt, goes to a large language model, fetches the details from there based on the system of records and gives you the response. And if you look at the response, you have the store stock summary which is given to you. It's very useful, of course, right? You get the stock summary for that matter. How can Mule change that for you? Let's look at that. Now, if you have Mule into the mix, what it does is it can actually allow you to interact with more vector databases and more AI engines for that matter. It can help you interact with some topics which we have created, and we spoke about that earlier. And then it can add security policies to the output which is coming out from those LLMs. You can secure those APIs for that matter. And you combine the entire thing, this is the sort of response you get. So what you see is on the right hand side. What was original was on the left hand side. And what you see is that the response sort of changed. Because the agent now has access to external systems, which are your system of records or ERPs and external vector databases, it is actually not only able to confirm what is the stock status, it is actually able to suggest an action to you, say, this is the stock status, do you want to ship these particular items to these particular stores? And if you click on confirm, it will start taking those actions, go to your ERP, go to your order management system and start creating those actions and those orders for you. I just want to end this note to say, Agentforce and MuleSoft. Agentforce is powerful by itself, helps you create agents. You bring Mule into the picture, it can actually enable actions across the enterprise for you. Thank you so much, and these are my credentials. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, the QR code is there. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. So may I request you to stay on stage while I request Mr. K.K. Mahapatra, Head INFOCOM, to come and felicitate our esteemed guest. A huge round of applause for such an interesting session. Our next panel is going to be a very, very interesting one. So may I request people who are occupying the last row to come in and, enjoy the session from the front row seats. Thank you once again, sir.